What's the wishes of the board?
I'll make a motion to apply for the grant.
I second.
All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief.
Chairman and Commissioners, under constitutional officers, governmental boards, and authorities, we have several items. The first item is consideration to approve a request from Chief Judge Thurman regarding local legislation. I'd like to call your attention to page 39A. Mr. Skipper has drafted a resolution for your consideration of that request, introduction of local legislation in this year's session.
The guts of what you're requesting is in paragraph number 1 of that resolution. And it is so late in session, Friday is day 30. I'm not really sure if it'll go, if y'all will adopt this, but all you can do is try.
What's the wishes of the board?
One question.
Yes, sir.
Now, this is going to be people chosen from this assistant employee, right? It's not, you won't go out and appoint somebody to you to put on the payroll.
I believe it's going to come from within. Thank you. I think he's already made the statement. Judge Thurman said it'd be from a person within his organization. Court.
Well, if we don't do it, if it can't go through legislation now, we will have to wait till next year, or does the law go into effect anyway?
No, what Judge Thurman said at your last meeting was that there had been some legislation proposed in Atlanta, general legislation that applied over the state. It might cause some issues about whether or not this could happen, so he wanted local legislation to get on the books before the statewide legislation got on the books. Whether that statewide legislation has been adopted, I don't know. I haven't really checked on it to see lately. As of 2 weeks ago, it had not been. But the rule is now that there is a state law that says that he can select either use a superior court clerk or a state court clerk, on the state court, or select one, and then the county fixes the salary. That's pretty much what this says. Not a big change.
Well, since I missed the meeting 2 weeks ago, I wasn't clear on this.
Understand.
So we need a motion from the board to request the introduction of local legislation.
I make a motion to approve the request from Judge Thurman to introduce the local legislation.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, the second item is also a request from Judge Thurman. He's requesting that Ms. Annie Ruth Steedley be appointed as Senior Magistrate Judge. There is a copy of the memorandum in the package on page 40, and also a proposed resolution on page 41. He's requesting that you appoint Ms. Steedley as a Senior Magistrate. In the second paragraph of his letter, it says that it will not affect the budget for the magistrate court.
So, I read the resolution. What's the wishes of the board?
I have one question. Mr. Skipper, if we appoint this lady to this position, is there anything, I mean, she doesn't live in the area, is there anything that she could do to legally get Lee County and
That's a good question.
That's a loaded question, by the way. I suppose anybody can sue Lee County for anything they want to sue them for. So it's theoretically anybody that you hire is in that position, not just her. I don't know the lady, and I don't, normally a senior magistrate, just like a senior superior court judge, and they've done away with senior superior court judge pretty much, but a senior magistrate serves in the place of the magistrate court judge, or the magistrate court can't be there for some reason. I think that's the point. Just have somebody with experience to come in and hear cases when for some reason Judge Thurman may be sick or out or for whatever reason. I suspect that's what, that's his purpose here. But anything that he does that we get sued for, same thing would apply to her, and she's in the same spot.
I was just reading a thing, and he was wanting us to do it, so the way I took it, so she could do weddings and such.
And it says perform weddings and assist other judges on an as-needed basis.
The only reason I would probably be for this is because Judge Thurman has recommended her. I have to assume that he knows this lady pretty well.
I'd like to make a motion, because we only received this on the 18th, that we table this to our April meeting, look at it at our non-voting meeting, and vote on it at our voting meeting.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Unanimous.
Mr. Chairman, in the past, Lee County Board of Elections and Registration has used our church on Highway 82 for a voting precinct. That facility is no longer able to be used as a voting precinct. Ms. Johnson, on behalf of the Board of Elections Registration, has proposed an agreement, which is in the package, to use the First Baptist Church Albany as a voting precinct, which is in Lee County and not far from the previous location. Ms. Johnson's here tonight to address any questions that you have.
What's the wishes of the board?
I'll make a motion to approve the contract with First Baptist Church.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Mr. Chairman, the next item, I'd like to call Mr. Joe Wright to come forward and present this to you.
Good evening, Mr. Wright.
Good evening. What this is asking y'all to approve the consulting agreement with ITOS Information Technology Outreach Services. It's a part of the University of Georgia. And this is funding that's already approved in this fiscal year's budget. And it was approved to be spent for the Rural Development Center to build me a parcel area for our GIS data. And the RDC contract, the time had expired, so we're no longer obligated under that contract. And RDC could not provide what we needed. And we've been able to get this consulting agreement with ITOS to be able to get us a parcel area built, which is, the opportunities are endless once we get this. But it'll be something great for Lee County, something that I've been working diligently on for 2 years. And I feel like I've accomplished more in the last 2 weeks than I have in the last 2 years about getting it done.
And the funds are in this year's budget.
They are, this is simply asking y'all to approve, spend, approve funding.
Okay. What's the wishes of the board?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Mr. Wright.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, the first item under County Administrator's Matters is a request from Mr. Daniel Bishop regarding his tax notices. I'd like to call your attention to page 59A, which is Mr. Skipper's opinion regarding this. I'd like to defer to Mr. Skipper to review his opinion with you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, this, what this is about is that Mr. Bishop has requested a refund because he did not receive homestead exemption from 2002 through 2008. And he did, it was changed in 2009, he did receive it in 2009. Apparently the genesis of his not receiving it was there was a divorce, and when the title changed hands as a consequence of the divorce, the homestead exemption came off, and a couple of things about the law that I'll tell you. The first thing is that in order to be entitled to this under state law, and this is really, you're governed by state law in this situation. It's not a local discretionary decision. It's a state law decision that you're governed under.